Hey, what's up, gentlemen? Chris McCarthy here, and this is the Earn It Battleground. Today's workout is going to be a 15-minute AMRAP, but it's going to be broken up into 5 separate AMRAPs with a 1-minute rest in between. Now, an AMRAP is as many rounds or as many reps as possible within that time. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to set a clock for 5 minutes to start, and we're going to repeat these sequences of movements. We're going to start off with either 60 single unders with a jump rope or 30 double unders. Then we're going to go into 8 dumbbell up downs, then back to that jump rope again. Then we're going to do 8 pull-ups, back to the jump rope again, and then we're going to go ahead and do 8 dumbbell thrusters. And we're going to keep on repeating that same sequence of movements for a total of 5 minutes. When the 5 minutes is up, we're going to rest for 1 minute, then we're going to do another 5-minute round, rest for 1 minute, and then a final third 5-minute round of this AMRAP. So how this is going to work is, first off, I'm going to go over all the movements and the exercises within this workout just to make sure that you are using proper form and technique on that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to queue up the full follow-along workout video of this exact workout so you can get started right away. But for those of you who would like to just jump right ahead and avoid all the instruction, you can click in the description down below and start the full follow-on workout right now. But for those of you who want to learn all the form and technique and all the movements, we're going to start off with 60 single unders of the jump rope or 30 double unders on that. So with the jump rope, you always want to make sure you are maintaining proper form. You're going to keep your feet together, and we're just jumping or just bounding on the balls of our feet. No need to bring your knees up really high or kick your feet back. It's just a little bounding motion, just a couple inches off the ground. You're going to initiate the first swing of that jump rope, keeping those elbows in close to your sides. Shoulders are down and relaxed. Elbows are in close to your sides, like I mentioned. Hands are slightly in front of your hips, and you're rotating that rope just with your wrists. So you can just go ahead and do 60 single unders, which is this 2-foot jump, or you can swap it off and do what's called a boxer step, where you're alternating your feet here. Now, you also have the option of doing what's called a double under for 30 of those, and that's a little bit more intense. It's 2 rotations of the jump rope for every jump, so it looks like this, where I'm jumping getting 2 rotations of that jump rope for every jump. So you're either going to go ahead and do those basic 60 single unders, which is just fine, or if you wanted to intensify the workout, you can go ahead and do those 30 double unders. Then we're going to go into 8 dumbbell up downs. So make sure your jump rope's out of the way, and we're going to use 2 dumbbells for this. So a dumbbell up down is kind of like a burpee with dumbbells, but you're not jumping at the end, and you just go into a plank and there's no push-up. So a dumbbell up down, you're going to start shoulders down and relaxed, palms are facing your hips, got those dumbbells in your hands. You're going to go down, place the dumbbells on the ground, and you're just going to kick back into a plank position, making sure that your shoulders, elbows, wrists are all in a line. We don't want to be back here or up over the top of the dumbbells, and you also don't want to be sagging your hips down or piking up. Nice plank position, engaging that core. Then we're going to kick our feet back in, sit back in the squat, press through the floor, and bring those dumbbells all the way up, opening up those hips at the top, rolling those shoulders back. So down, plank, then back in, stand up. So it's just an up down, but we're adding the weight in there and really engaging that core the entire time. So this is the dumbbell up downs. And on this movement, we're gonna end up doing 8 of those. Then you're gonna pick up that jump rope again for another, either the 60 single unders or the 30 double unders. And then we're just gonna go into 8 pull-ups. So I've got my pull-up bar back here, and on the pull-ups, you wanna have your palms facing forward, a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. You're gonna jump up on that bar, put your chin up over the bar, all the way down to full extension, all the way up, all the way down. You're gonna do 8 of these pull-ups. Now, if you're unable to do strict pull-ups without assistance, there's a couple options you have for you. So first off, you can get a band, wrap it around the bar, place 1 foot into that band, and use that band to kind of give you some assistance. You can also take a box or a bench, place that under the pull-up bar, place 1 foot on that, and you can push against that to pull your chin up over. Another option is if you have some bands that have handles on them, you could use this, and you could throw that up over the top of your bar, or in a doorway around the hinge area at the high point. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna get down on the ground, stretch those out, and mimic that pull-up move. So basically, palms are still facing forward, a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. You're gonna pull down to your hands are down below your chin level, and then slow and controlled all the way up. All the way down, all the way up, and you're gonna mimic that pull-up movement with the band. Now, this is significantly easier to do than a strict pull-up. So if you're gonna go ahead and do that route, what I recommend you doing is either doubling or even tripling the amount. So instead of 8 of those pull-ups, just go ahead and do 16 or maybe even 24, just to really make sure you're getting the best benefit out of this workout. Now, once you've done with those pull-ups, you're then gonna grab that jump rope, you're gonna do another set of the 60 single unders or the 30 double unders, and then we're gonna go into 8 dumbbell thrusters. So on these thrusters, I'm gonna use the same dumbbells I was using for the up downs. A dumbbell thruster, you're gonna have the dumbbells starting here in the front rack position, palms facing each other. Feet are a little bit wider than hip width apart, so you can go down into a squat. Now when you go down into that squat, knees are tracking out over those toes, butt goes down below knee level. Then you're gonna press out of that squat. As you're pressing out of the squat, you're also pushing the dumbbells all the way up over the head at the same time. So it's one fluid motion as the dumbbell's coming down to the squat, all the way up, all the way down. We don't want you coming out of the squat and then doing a strict shoulder press. Also don't want you bringing the dumbbells down to here and then going in the squat. So it's one fluid motion. So grabbing these 2 dumbbells, get them up in that front rack position. From here, we're gonna go down to that squat and then press and push. Down to the squat, press and push. One fluid motion on these dumbbell thrusters, and you're gonna end up doing 8 of those. Once you've completed 8 of those, that completes one full round of that. But like I said, you're gonna keep on repeating that same sequence of movements for a total of 5 minutes. Rest for 1 minute, another 5-minute AMRAP, rest for 1 minute, and then a final 5-minute AMRAP. All right, guys, that is the workout of the day. Make sure you check out earnit247.com. And now I'm gonna go ahead and queue up the full follow-on workout video of this workout so you can get started right now. Make sure you get out there and earn it.